We continue our interview with the president of the Ukrainian Catholic University and the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Bishop of Paris, His Excellency Borys Gudziak. Your Excellency, Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church is doing a lot to help Ukraine in this war, in the war in eastern Ukraine. There are a lot of Greek Catholic chaplains serving in eastern Ukraine. A lot of churches are raising money to buy food and supplies for the Ukrainian warriors. Can you tell us what is your university, what is Ukrainian Catholic University doing to help the country in this time of need?
Ukrainian Catholic University has a mission statement which culminates in the words that the mission of the university is to work for the dignity of every person. And this is something that we've been talking and focusing on for more than a decade. So the whole movement from fear to dignity that is occurring through the revolution of dignity and the reforms that are occurring now in Ukraine that are being pushed by the young generation, by students, including the students of the Ukrainian Catholic University, is not something new. It's part of our identity, and it is articulated in basically everything that the university tries to do. The university was in the forefront of standing up to the Yanukovych government. In 2012, the Minister of Education, Tabachnik, for months was trying to close our university because it was the most outspoken institution of higher learning in Ukraine. Our students were on the Maidan the first day. One of our faculty members, Bohdan Solchanik, was one of the Heavenly Hundred who was killed on February 2nd during the massacre of the snipers. There are students who have joined as volunteers and are on the front. But our particular niche, our particular calling, I would say, is a spiritual one. We are trying to encourage people to understand that human dignity is not just a contractual issue. It's not a question of the Constitution and the laws only. It's not even a socioeconomic question in the first place. It is a question of the fundamental identity of people. They are created in the image and likeness of God. And I think throughout the Maidan and in the subsequent year and a half now, we are examining what does it mean to be a human being. The concrete work of our students who have organized a volunteer 100, they call it, a sotnya, the volunteer century, includes collecting international grant money for medical instruments. It includes systematic visiting of soldiers. We have an English language summer school that just began 3 days ago, and 2 people from the Ato are there. Nazar, who I met in December in the military hospital in Kyiv, who lost his leg, who is finding it difficult to adjust to this new facet of his life, is being embraced by 100 students at this summer school. And I hope these 3 weeks of togetherness, friendship, love will heal some of the wounds of his body and his soul. We're not many. We don't pretend to cover all the problems, but we try to witness to the truth about who a person is and how we should help each other in times of need, hoping that this witness will also be of encouragement to others. And thank God so many Ukrainians, in fact the majority of the population, is involved in some kind of volunteer effort.
Your Excellency, very recently we spoke to one of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic chaplains who has been to eastern Ukraine many times, who has spent a lot of time in eastern Ukraine, and he says that there is a great need there in the war zone for people like him to provide spiritual counseling. Is the Church doing something to prepare your priests for this very difficult task, for this very difficult assignment?
It is. There's all kinds of, first of all, the priests have at least 7 years of seminary training. Some have 10 and more years. And our church was in the avant-garde beginning already 10 years ago, trying to propose to the Ukrainian army the need for a military chaplaincy, and it developed this chaplaincy outside of the Army structures to support the Army and to be ready for a future, let's say, opening of this possibility from the Army. And in Lviv, where the Ukrainian Army has a central military academy, there has been beautiful cooperation. And the soldiers and officers testify to the fact that the presence of chaplains of different confessions really raises the morale of the soldiers.
Your Excellency, excuse me, it's obviously easy to prepare them for the service with the soldiers in the peaceful times. But back there in eastern Ukraine, there is a war going on, and not everybody is prepared for these atrocities which they are witnessing, where they are witnessing the deaths, where they have to confess the people who were killed, who were wounded, where they are witnessing death every single day. How can you prepare the priests for that?
Nobody expected this war. Nobody thought that Russia would instigate such violence and create such havoc in society and in the lives of simple Ukrainian citizens. And so it would be false to say that the Church was prepared for this particular situation. In the last year, many priests and other lay ministers are being trained, for example, to deal with post-traumatic shock. There's all kinds of efforts made to bridge the gap. One of the greatest aspects of suffering is loneliness. We feel isolated. An injured person feels different, feels rejected. And if a community can embrace, build a bridge, create communication, show solidarity, stand next to, that alleviates and heals suffering.
Your Excellency, I know that a lot of your students are involved in the war in many roles, including as fighters. You, as the leader of the religious institution, do you condemn that your students are going to the east of Ukraine and killing the enemy?
No, the official position of our church is not to bless and for killing. It is to bless for defense. And this is something that is at the heart of the Christian doctrine of self-defense and just war. It would be lovely if this was not necessary. And there is a place for those who say, I do not pick up the sword against my brother. In fact, this is the 1000th anniversary of the death of Borys in Lviv, the first canonized saints of Ukraine, who 1,000 years before Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela demonstrated in a time of war and civil strife a radical position of nonviolence. And that is to be commended, and that position will still have a major role in healing this divide that the Russian aggression is causing. However, if you see somebody in a metro station attacking a child or a woman, you and I have a moral obligation to defend this defenseless person. And that's what our students are doing, and we support them, we pray for them, we bless them, and we're proud of them.
Well, unfortunately, they are put in the position where they have no choice. Your Excellency, many thanks for coming to us and talking to us. This was Volodymyr Sulu for Ukraine Today, together with the President of Ukrainian Catholic University and the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Bishop of Paris, His Excellency Borys Gudziak. Thank you for watching us.